Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're all about getting right to the good stuff here. Cutting through the noise, no textbooks, just straight to the point. Today, we're diving into something I've been seeing popping up more and more. Zero-fee programs.
Yeah, these are pretty interesting. And I think you've got a really great collection of materials to help us unpack it all. We've got a training manual, a sales pitch, clearly aimed at getting businesses on board, even a cold call script, and an email template for that initial outreach. It really gives us the full picture.
I thought so too. And going through it all, I kept coming back to a few key questions. What exactly is this zero-fee program? How could it start impacting all the businesses we see and interact with every day, even our own choices as consumers? What are the need-to-know nuggets buried in all these documents?
And that's exactly what we're going to do today. Pull out those key insights, unpack anything that's a little more complex, and hopefully find some of those light bulb moments along the way. We want to make this both informative and, well, genuinely interesting for you.
So let's jump right in. It seems like the heart of this zero-fee program is pretty straightforward. Businesses are trying to shift responsibility for those credit card processing fees over to the customer.
That's the core of it. Instead of the business just eating that small percentage that credit card companies charge, this program is all about adding a surcharge to purchases made with cards, credit, or debit. The key here, though, is that customers who choose to pay with cash, they totally avoid that extra fee.
Now, the training manual hinted that this model might not be a home run for every type of business. Certain industries might benefit more than others. We don't have a specific list in these documents, but based on your expertise, what kind of businesses do you think might be most attracted to this?
Well, it would make the most sense for businesses operating on really slim profit margins. Those places where even a small percentage fee eats into their bottom line significantly.
Right, makes sense.
Think about smaller, independent shops, local restaurants, service-based businesses dealing with a lot of credit card transactions.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Places where every penny counts.
Exactly. Based on the emphasis on transaction volume and cost management, even though the manual doesn't specifically call them out, high transaction businesses come to mind, like coffee shops, quick service restaurants. They may have smaller individual transactions, but the volume is huge. And those processing fees, they really add up over time. Plus, the cash incentive might work best where, well, cash is still pretty common.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, the whole legal angle. The manual makes it very clear that this program operates totally above board, but only if businesses follow the surcharging laws and are completely transparent with their customers.
Yeah, that's super important. While federal law allows surcharging, it comes with specific rules. And get this, they can even vary from state to state. The manual hammers this home. Clear, upfront disclosure at the point of sale. Customers need to know before they decide how to pay that there's an extra fee if they use a card. And even though federal law allows it, some states have their own rules on top of that, maybe capping the surcharge percentage or even specific wording for signs. Businesses have to be aware of those local regulations, and it seems like this program provider really emphasizes that.
It's not like a sneaky last-minute fee tacked on at the end, right?
Right.
The manual talks about clear signage,
Yeah.
big and easy to see, and making sure that surcharge is clearly itemized on the receipt.
Oh,
And apparently, messing this up can lead to some hefty fines.
absolutely. Compliance isn't optional here. Businesses going this route need to be incredibly careful to follow all the rules. That's how they avoid legal trouble. And just as importantly, how they avoid customers feeling like they weren't being upfront.
So let's get to the why. Why would a business even consider this zero-fee program thing? The training manual and that sales pitch both point to potentially bigger profit margins. They're saying businesses could keep basically 100% of their sales revenue, no more losing a chunk to processing fees.
Yeah, that's the main financial draw. If you're a business owner, you're always looking to cut costs and boost those profits. Taking away what can be a pretty significant ongoing expense, that's very attractive. Direct impact right to the bottom line.
And then there's the push for more cash payments. If card payments become just a little less appealing because of that surcharge, the program aims to get more customers using cash, which of course means no processing fees for the business.
Exactly. It's a strategy to cut down on those overall transaction expenses. If even some customers switch to cash, the savings over time can really start to add up.
Plus, the sales pitch talks about offering flexibility to customers. They get to choose between the convenience of a card and a small fee, or going cash and avoiding it altogether. It's like they're trying to spin it as a customer-centric thing.
It's certainly a way to look at it. I mean, technically there is a choice. But for people who never carry cash, that might not feel like a benefit. But they are at least offering the option.
Now, getting this whole system up and running seems fairly simple, at least according to the training manual. They talk about integrating it with existing POS systems. And again, hammering that point about clear fee disclosure right when the customer's paying.
Yeah, that ease of integration is huge for businesses considering this. If it's a massive headache to set up, if it requires a total overhaul of their system, they're less likely to go for it. And that repeated emphasis on clear disclosure, that's important, legally and for keeping customers happy.
Okay, so businesses see the potential upsides, but what about the customers? Isn't everyone going to be annoyed about having to pay an extra fee? The training manual actually addresses this head on.
They do. They basically argue that most people already know credit card companies charge fees to businesses, so they'll understand a small surcharge for the convenience of using their card. And they repeatedly say, hey, cash is always an option if you don't want to pay the extra.
Okay, but what about the legality of all this? People are going to wonder, is this even allowed?
Right.
The manual's pretty straightforward there. It's legal as long as the business discloses everything properly and stays within any limits set by regulations.
Which means it's on these companies offering the zero fee program to make sure their clients are doing things by the book. It's not just flipping a switch. There's a big compliance piece that needs to be managed carefully.
Now, one of the in-person rebuttals in the training materials tackles this head on. The business owner saying, well, my competitors aren't doing this. Their response is that more and more businesses are starting to use similar programs, so customers are getting used to it. And they try to spin the cash option as a positive, a differentiator, a benefit for those paying with cash.
It's a smart strategy. Instead of being the odd one out, charging extra, they're trying to present it as part of a trend and framing the cash option as a discount. Instead of the card payment having a penalty, that might sit better with customers psychologically.
The manual also anticipates pushback, complaints. They suggest people are already used to seeing service fees all over the place. Ticketing, delivery services, that kind of thing. Again, clear communication, big signs, and always pointing back to that cash discount to keep things fair.
It's an interesting point about familiarity. I mean, we do encounter these kinds of fees in different sectors, so the idea of an added charge isn't totally foreign, but good communication is key to setting expectations and avoiding those negative reactions.
What about big purchases? The manual addresses that too. They say people making large purchases often care more about the convenience and security of a credit card, so they'll be fine with a small percentage fee for that.
That makes sense. If you're spending a significant amount, the convenience and security often outweigh a small extra fee.
Another very practical worry for business owners is staff having more work. Will this make their lives harder? The manual reassures them, saying the zero-fee program automates everything, calculates the surcharge automatically, so it shouldn't add any extra work for employees at checkout.
Yeah, automation is key. It needs to be seamless, part of their existing checkout process, no added burden on staff.
And lastly, the manual touches on compliance worries, stating their systems are designed to meet all the legal requirements. That has to be a huge relief for businesses considering this.
Absolutely. Businesses need that reassurance that they're not going to accidentally break any rules. The provider taking on that compliance responsibility is a big selling point. Peace of mind.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Let's look at how they're selling this, the marketing. The sales pitch we have really grabs your attention right away. They hit you with the pain point, processing fees, something all business owners hate.
Classic problem-solution approach. Right off the bat, they target a common frustration, a cost everyone wants to get rid of.
And the value proposition is super clear. Get rid of those fees completely. Keep all the money from every sale. They even call it a proven model, specifically for service-based businesses.
Using that term proven model is a deliberate choice. Building trust, implying others have done it successfully.
The key selling points are short and punchy. Keep all the money from your product or service. No more paying anything for processing payments. Simple to set up and completely legal. It's almost too good to be true, right?
That's the goal of good marketing. Make those benefits clear and attractive. But ultimately, it's the real-world experience of businesses and how customers react that will determine if this program actually works in the long run.
Their call to action in the sales pitch is very direct. They want business owners to schedule a quick chat, see how easy it is to set things up and start saving money. It's all about getting them in the door.
Right. The goal at that point is to start a conversation, get to a more detailed explanation of the program and its features.
In looking at that cold call script and the email template, the main message is consistent. They both jump right into the problem of processing fees and present getting rid of them as a huge plus.
That's important. Keeping the message the same across different channels reinforces the value proposition, makes it clear for the potential client.
Both the script and the email talk about how much money businesses can save, the win-win. The business keeps all its revenue, and customers still get choices for how to pay. The email ends the same way, asking the person to schedule a call to learn more.
It's all very carefully worded from the business owner's point of view. Saving money, increasing profits, making their finances simpler. It's tailored to what they care about most.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the key takeaways for you, the listener? What have we learned about the zero-fee program?
Well, the big one is that this program is all about shifting those credit card processing fees from the business to the customer. They do this by adding surcharges and encouraging cash payments, the benefits for businesses. Potentially higher profit margins, lower overall transaction costs. But to make this work, they have to be really careful about following all those legal rules and being transparent. They have to manage how customers see this, communicate clearly, and always offer that cash option. Those concerns that businesses might have, like customers pushing back or legal questions, the program tries to address them head on. They argue that customers understand fees, that these surcharges are becoming more common, and that the program is built to comply with all the regulations.
And now, for you, our listener, here's something to think about. Imagine you start seeing these surcharges at your favorite places. How would you feel? Would it change how you pay? For those of you running businesses, does this model seem like something you'd consider? Something you'd even want? Is this a big change in how businesses handle transaction costs, or just a fad? And what could this mean for prices in general, how we all pay for things down the line? A lot to ponder.
Absolutely. It brings up some fascinating questions about pricing, how consumers are changing, and the whole world of payment processing. Definitely a trend to keep an eye on.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time, right here on The Deep Dive.
See you then.